Let's make some bread. Seems to be the thing nowadays that everyone wants to know how to make bread. And the thing that I think people get nervous about is they look at a recipe and then they read the words, they understand what to do, but then they can't make their bodies just do it. And the reason that you want to just do it is because if you don't just do it, it'll never get done. So let's make some bread. You're gonna need 2 bowls, some salt, yeast, sugar, vegetable oil. Not sponsored, but I would love if it were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Water. So I'm gonna do that thing where I snap and everything is organized and prettier. I love doing that. I love pretending I have magic powers. I just think that Elizabeth Montgomery is such an underrated actress, and I love all the work that she did in Bewitched, Growing Up, Nick at Night. That was literally just, oh God, I love her. So, the bread, 6 ingredients, that's all you need. To start, 3 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you want, a tablespoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of sugar plus a half a teaspoon, a little less than a tablespoon of yeast. If you get yeast in the little tiny square packets, 1 packet will do. And then water that is between 110 and 115 degrees. I bought this. And it's very important that your water is the right temperature for when you proof your yeast, which is what we're about to do. When you proof your yeast, you essentially get it ready. You say, look, you're gonna go in bread and you're gonna make it rise. And it's gonna be amazing. And you're gonna make the bread just so fluffy and happy. And you're gonna mix with the water, and you're gonna get some sugar to eat. And we're gonna keep you away from salt, because salt kills yeast. Keep your salt away from your yeast. Maybe it's still too long. I think that's gonna be fine. I'm gonna take my yeast, and I'm gonna gently put it in the bowl. Just a half a teaspoon of sugar. The sugar is gonna mix with the yeast, and the yeast is gonna eat it, and it's gonna say thank you. Mix it. And you're gonna watch for it to foam. This is very much like the pizza dough recipe. There's just these little tiny variations. When you bake bread and it's nice and brown, that's because there's sugar in it. So I'm gonna take this sugar here, and I'm gonna dump it into my flour. And I'm not gonna drop the little tiny bowl. I'm gonna take my salt and I'm gonna dump that into the flour. I think it's an underrated thing. This one. The part that many people don't know how to do anymore. And I say that not knowing if I'm doing it correctly either. It's fine, it's fine. It's fine, that seems to be the tagline. I'm gonna go with it, because it is all gonna be fine. Now, we wait. It's gonna take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes for your yeast to proof. Hello. I have no idea what's happening. Like, I don't know why this does that. I don't understand yeast or like the bacteria in it. I don't know. Go watch an episode of It's Alive on Bon Appetit and they'll explain the science better, I'm sure, because they're professional chefs and I'm here at home stuck under quarantine.
So what have you been doing in your quarantine?
What have I been doing in my quarantine? Playing video games. A lot of video games. Final Fantasy VII just came out.
Crying with video games.
I'm literally in tears, and bless cameraman Ygor. Ygor, say hi.
Hey there.
Bless him for agreeing to hang out with me during this very strange time. Last night, I was playing it for so long. I was like, we're gonna go to bed soon. I promise it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna finish this one area. The area just kept going. The game itself is just, oh my God. Like, it's making me tear up thinking about it, because That was my childhood. If there's anything I would love to just take away from my childhood, it's the dream I had of, oh wow, I wish Final Fantasy could like look like a movie, like the people could look real and like it just, the graphics be better and like, I don't know, I just want everything to be like amazing. No, we're working I'm just so happy. How long has it been? Oh my god. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the oil and I'm gonna carefully mix it into this mixture. And then I'm gonna add 3 cups of flour to start. You wanna stir to incorporate until all of the flour is completely wet. Make your flour. Notice I did not put the jar of flour away. You're gonna end up with about 6 to maybe even 7 cups of flour in this. It sounds like a lot, and that's because it is. Continue adding flour half a cup at a time. And again, incorporate until the entire mixture is wet. And it already is starting to form. So now this is 4 cups, another half a cup. It's really starting to firm up. Again, just a half cup at a time, no rush. What else do you have to do? You're stuck at home. Because you're at home, right? I forgot how much flour I added. I think I have 5.5 cups. Everyone's kitchen is going to be a little different, so maybe you only need 5.5 cups because your kitchen is pretty dry. Maybe you need 7 cups because your kitchen is really humid. I don't know. 1 more cup to this bowl. And then I'm going to set some aside for me to use. I think that should be enough. So now I'm going to turn all this out. It's kind of a shaggy dough. It's going to form up nice. I promise. Just like we did with the pizza dough, if you watched that episode, which if you did, yay, thank you for watching. This is the exact recipe that I used, and I'll link it down below, the recipe that I used to make the burger bun. It's a great recipe. I think it yields a really good bread. This bread will last you maybe a week. It makes 2 loaves. So what I'm doing is pushing the heels of my hands down into the dough, into the table, and then I'm folding the ends in, and I'm trying to pull in flour with me as well. And I'm forming a giant ball. So again, pushing down and forward, and I'm really trying to stretch the gluten out. Something that you can do if you're using all-purpose flour like I'm using right now is to add Vital wheat gluten. It makes the bread a little more tender, a little more flavorful. And if you don't have access to good bread flour, Vital wheat gluten will help beef up your all-purpose flour. I see no point in wasting money on bread flour right now if you can't afford it. And an extra bag of Vital wheat gluten, if you're making bread like this once a week or every other week, that Vital wheat gluten will last you a long time. I have no idea how long I've been kneading. There's a texture that you'll feel where it's correct. Usually 8 to 10 minutes. If you have a stand mixer, this is much easier and it'll go by a little faster. I recommend warming your bowl up because what's happening right now is the heat from my hands is helping to solidify this into a lovely round of dough. And it's gonna end up coming into kind of a sticky ball. The more you knead it, you will overwork the dough. Don't knead it for too long. Now it's starting to get nice and smooth. This is a really good workout. This is my favorite part. People with headphones, you're warned. That just helps to wake the gluten up. And then you're gonna form it into a ball. It's a nice ball of dough. Professional bread makers, yell at me, feel free. This dough is not perfectly smooth. Honey, I ain't got time for that. I'm tired. This is for me to survive on, not for me to sell. Next step, go back to your bowl. And oil, is this cracked? Can I crack this? No! No. For shame, Samuel. Samantha, my child, what have you done? I don't know. Shit! Take 2. So that's what happens when you use substandard materials. Bowl, oil. You take your hand, Get it in there. Oh, look at that. I'm gonna make sure all of the bread dough gets a little taste of oil. This is a really important part, especially if you're gonna let it sit for a proper rise. I use plastic wrap lately. And what this will do is keep all the moisture in. What I like to do now is find a nice, warm, dry, quiet, dark place in the kitchen for this to chill. And by chill, I mean rise, and by rise, I mean stay warm. So it's now going to live up here, on top of my nice, dusty refrigerator. Now that dough has to sit for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Yes, it does need to sit that long. It needs to double in size. And for it to do that, you have to leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Don't breathe at it. Do nothing. Do nothing. Leave it alone. And the reason for that is because it's doing its job. If it doesn't do this job, you ain't gonna have bread, sweet cakes. Just leave it. It'll be great. When we come back, we'll play with it a little more. We'll put it into their loaf pans, and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge for an overnight rise. And what that's gonna do is yield a really yummy, tangy flavor, almost like sourdough bread, but not sourdough bread. Sourdough bread is a process in and of itself, and it terrifies me a little bit. Maybe someday I will do some sourdough, but not today.
So what happens if the kitchen is cold?
If your kitchen, like mine, was pretty chilly, especially right now in this weird spring-ish thing that's happening, and your heat is not on right now because you turn it off because you're trying to save energy and money, you need to get your kitchen a little warmer. Get yourself a little space heater, turn the heat on for a bit, turn your oven on and let it heat up the room. Or if you're filming a YouTube video, get nice bright lights. It's great. It'll keep you nice and warm. If the room isn't warm enough, your dough won't rise. The last time I made bread, the dough did not rise, and let me show you what happens to that. I think I made this like a week and a half ago. It's still okay. What happened was, because it didn't rise enough initially, look at the difference from end to end. It browned nicely, and it did rise. When it started baking, it did rise a bit. A friend of mine, Jessica Stickler, you can check her information out below. She's a wonderful vegan cook and does a yoga podcast and streams her classes online right now if you're looking for something to do. That happened to her. Her dough didn't rise properly enough. When that happens, when your dough doesn't rise properly, fret not. Go ahead and bake it. It'll rise a little bit and it'll probably taste fine. This tasted okay. We got through 2 loaves of this, but right now it's a little hard. I'll link Jessica's video below about what to do about that. We're gonna come back in a little bit and we will look at what happened to the dough and see if it rose at all, see if it's ready to move on to the next step, and we'll go from there.
So people will see you making all these recipes and just eating like this potato chips.
If you didn't see the giant burger video, I explained. Vegans don't necessarily eat healthier. We just don't eat animal products, that's it. When you're eating bullshit, I want to eat bullshit too. I just want to eat bullshit I can eat. Let me eat what I want to eat. Yeah? Stop clutching your pearls, alright? This is doing. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna switch gears now. We're in the bread video now. Okay?
Okay.
We're in the bread video.
Wait. Start the video like we were back or something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So let's check the bread. What are you doing?
I'm gonna check the bread dough. Now that is some properly risen bread dough. Oh, I love that sound. I'm going to weigh this. Oh, great, look at all this dough. 1,461 grams of dough. So I want to cut that in half. 730 roughly grams of dough in each bread pan. The deal with this dough, you don't want to touch it too much. So I'm just gonna form it into kind of a long log. You hear that? Now we'll see how these both turn out tomorrow, but it's very possible, given the temperature and the state of everything, that this doesn't rise, and that's totally fine, that happens. And again, you can always do something with what's left. We're all just making do with what we have. This is what I have. It's fine. These are gonna sit in the fridge overnight, and we'll check back in tomorrow and see how they're doing.
Recording.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I preheated the oven to 375. Now I already see funny little issue here. Watch. Doesn't really mean anything. This may not produce the prettiest bread because that happened. Doesn't fucking matter, it's bread. Put it in. It's been a really long day. Come back in 35 minutes. Bread. It didn't rise a ton. Again, I think it's just because it's a little too cold right now. But to check to see if your bread is done, so now it has to cool, but that's bread. Now this one has a little more character to it. You can see there, got a nice little wrinkle there.
So for how long you have to wait to eat?
I mean, if you were like starving, dive in. The thing about bread when it's right out of the oven, it's fairly tough. It's still baking on the inside. Give it like 10 minutes. The crust is going to get a little bit softer and tender and amazing. I love bread so much. If you are one of these people who are stuck at home, which should be all of you, make some bread. It's like a real good time. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's it. Wash your hands, stay home, make some bread. I have more whiskey now. Bye.